Welcome back to a channel where we discuss most things the church would never. I'm your host, Miss Nikki, and I appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy. Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been so long since I've gotten the opportunity to record with so many things transpiring in my life. I'm so grateful that God kept me and I am back. So, with this episode, I kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what I am deciding to do with this channel, with this podcast moving forward. I do want to drop in weekly, maybe even twice a week. It all depends on what the Lord drops in my spirit, but I definitely am returning back and am looking forward to being more active on this podcast. Also, I wanted to discuss a few things that have been going on. When I first started this podcast, the information out there in the media, also with people that we know, close friends and family and relatives, the whole conversation of narcissism or toxic relationships, things of that nature, had not been as prevalent as it is now. I mean, so much has happened. Even, this couple, Krishan Rock and Blueface, have been in the media for a while during the whole time that I had not been active on this podcast. And there's so much that I wanted to discuss concerning them, just to kind of point out a lot of the different things that, again, has not been something that we learned growing up, has not been, information that's just out there for people to see. I wanted to kind of compare and contrast the different things that I noticed in their relationship and just how they respond to each other, just to make those of you out there who are interested in this kind of topic more aware. Again, this thing has taken off as far as what's out there, how more common it is than we previously thought. And I feel like, I'm so glad and so grateful to God that He put me in a position to be able to point it out and to be able to show things that I hadn't seen or I hadn't had the opportunity to, be informed by and move accordingly from. So, again, that's kind of what I want to be. I kind of want to be the voice that I wish that I had, offered, to myself so that I could have made better decisions. But, I thank God for where I am. I thank God for the opportunity to be what I didn't get. And so, again, this stuff has been in the media. It has gone crazy. It has taken off. And I'm talking about the toxic stuff and how normal it has been, no matter what community you come from. This past week, we had a young lady hit the TikTok streets and basically give us a whole, I think it was 3.5 years. I hadn't really paid attention to her story myself, but I did hear bits and pieces from others who watched it. And I guess just for me to hear everything, when you heal from certain situations, it's not like you want to go back into listening to the same cycle repeated from someone else. That's what it's like to hear somebody's story. Not that I don't care, not that I don't have respect for the young lady. I'm glad that she was able to kind of recognize what she was dealing with and move on with her life. But I don't know, to hear all of that all over and over again. I mean, we're talking about a spirit. We're talking about the behavior of a spirit. Nobody wants to continue to hear that constantly. I mean, I even got the same feedback from family members of mine. Why does she keep talking about the same thing? Why does she keep... The reason why I'm talking about the same thing is because there's a lot of people out here who don't know. And this is where God has placed me, and this is where I would stay until He tells me different. So if this is not the channel for you, if you're sick of hearing about the same thing, if you're sick of hearing about narcissism, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to move on. This is where we are today. There are so many young people coming up, and this is something that is normal in their households. And I'm here to sound the alarm so that young ladies, young men would understand that this is not normal behavior. Narcissism is by far and most definitely a mental health disorder. And we need not to be groomed by these people to believe that the way that we respond to them or the way that they respond to us is of a normal human interaction. It is not. And so I'm glad that there's so many women, although I'm not happy about the experience that they had to have. I'm just thankful that they are strong enough to be able to come forward and explain what their situation was, what their experience was, so that it stops other young women for just taking certain red flags, orange, green, and purple flags lightly. We as a society need to start paying attention to our surroundings, the people that we deal with. One white lie is one too many. So yes, again, I will be staying on this topic. This is not a topic that I'm going to come off of anytime soon. I don't believe. Again, I believe that this is where the Lord wants me. And just the fact that it's coming out even more, with different people in the media, it proves that this topic is one that needs to be discussed. Some people get into these situations, and because they fall in love or they've given their time, energy, finances, and everything else, they try to find a way to stay in a situation that's not conducive to what they want to do in their future. They try to force it. And the only way for them to learn that that is not possible, because their partner is suffering with a mental disorder, is to hear a voice like mine and plenty other women or men who have gone through this situation. So no, I don't plan on removing my voice from this kind of a topic or any. Or any topic that the Lord gives me. My job is to cater to the audience that God has ordained for me to witness to. That's what my job is. My job is not to cater to those who, outside of knowing what He purposed for me, my job is not to cater to them. Yes, I'm open for questions. I'm open for people reaching out to me with request on speaking on different topics. Yes, most definitely. I'm open to answering questions. There will be a time for that. When I first began this podcast, that was one of the things that I did. I used to ask people to, send in topics, questions that they may have had that they wanted me to discuss. But God has taken me in another direction. And I have to be able to move to the beat of His drum. Reason being is because I never want to be out of His will. I never want to be out of line with what He has ordained for me. The reason being is because, like I said earlier, there's a certain sound when you are, you're in relationship with God and God is using you as His vessel. There's a certain sound that His people, the people that He has drawn to the anointing He's placed on your life, there's a certain sound that comes out of that draws people to it. And they're not being drawn to me, they are being drawn to Him. So my priority is to be led by Him. There are people waiting for that sound. There are people, they're in desperate need of hearing from God. Some people don't even know that there is a desperation in them to hear from God, that their souls and their spirits are crying out for an explanation of what they have been going through. When you go through something as heavy as I have, there's a heavy weight, there's a heavy weight and heavy cost to pay for the anointing. It's not about bragging that you are anointed. Being anointed is not fun. The anointing is not for you, it's for the people that you serve. And so that's what my job is. My job is to be a servant of God and to be his vessel and to do as he wills me to do. I'm not in the business of taking a liking to talking about demonic spirits and giving them praise and, giving them glory to express all the deviant things and deceitful things that they are involved in. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to inform those who, again, believe that this is a normal behavior, that this is life, that there's nothing more to relationships than to be abused and to have to live and breathe in a space of toxicity. I'm here to tell you that that's not true. That there is a place where you can live a normal life, a normal, peaceful life. And that place, of course, is, it's only a place that you'll discover if you find out the truth of where you've been. Right. And the fact that, it's not something that should be accepted and taken lightly. I'm also here to inform people that they should have boundaries. When you live in toxic environments, you don't even know what it is to have a boundary. That's something foreign and strange. So again, I'm thankful to those who consider me some type of encouraging voice. I just pray that you continue to be not only informed but inspired by me. I pray that your hearts, minds, and ears are open to receive what God pours out of me for you. I pray that if it's not for you, that you would give it to somebody that it is for, so that it will grow in them. I don't ever want anything that comes out of my mouth to fall on hard ground. That is not what I've experienced in life for. I want these seeds to grow and prosper, and so that you would become an inspiration as well. So I thank you, for returning back to another episode. I'm sorry that it took so long. Please pray for me. Keep me in your prayers, that the Lord would keep me and that I would stay close to him so that I can continue to be a vessel for him to use. And I will see you guys on another episode. Before I go, I do want you guys to be aware that I will be discussing some topics on YouTube as well. And so, although I cannot put any of the YouTube information in my description box on here, I do want to give you my YouTube channel name. And so the YouTube channel name is the same as the podcast. It is Something to Say, and that is together. Something to Say with the number 2, and then space podcast. That is how you will find me on YouTube. Join that YouTube channel. I do want to get into doing some reactions. We will be reacting, to some situations that may be toxic. We just want to call some things out, and give a visible perspective to what toxicity may look like, and whatever other topics the Lord drops in my spirit. So again, thank you guys for returning back to another episode, and you'll be hearing from me sooner than you think. Thank you. Bye. But I thank God for putting me in this position where I can provide the knowledge, I can provide the wisdom. Thank you for stopping by. I pray you were blessed, informed, encouraged, and most of all, inspired. Come back to see what we discuss next. You don't want to miss out.